Namaste to all. Welcome to the online course on Swayam on basics of Panchakarma. I am Dr. Rajkala Panchakshari Patil, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Panchakarma, Faculty of Ayurveda, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. As in previous module, we have discussed about the basic principles of Ayurveda, which is needed for the Panchakarma practice. And in this module, we will be discussing the introduction to Panchakarma, and in today's lecture, we will discuss the basic principles of Panchakarma or fundamental principles of Panchakarma, which we should need in detail during the practice of Panchakarma. So, the content of today's lecture is fundamental principles of Panchakarma, Panchakarma and Panchashodhana. What is the concept? Rakta Mokshana, why it is included in Panchakarma, and benefits of Panchakarma, and a concept about the seasonal Panchakarma, what is its uses, how to apply in the clinical practice. So that will be discussed in today's lecture. So coming to the fundamental principles of Panchakarma, it is not actually the Panchakarma, it is the general principle of Ayurveda of dosha. So what Acharya Sushruta says, like doshaha kshina bruhitavya, kupita prashamitavya, vruddha nihartavya, समापरिपाल्य इति सिद्धांतः. So this is the fundamental principle of dosha which every physician should interpret in his clinical practice. So when the dosha is in depleting stage, it should be nourished. Or if there is a kshaya of any dosha, the panchakarma is advised is the nourishing panchakarma or bruhanabasti, bruhannasya, that is in the depleting stage. And when it is aggravated stage, there we have to pacify with the shamanabasti, with shamana panchakarma, or with some purva karmas like shashtishali pindasvita when it is aggravated. And when it is balanced, like in the normalcy, we can go for the normal panchakarma like yapanabasti to maintain the ayusho and to maintain the health. So that is what the principle, fundamental principle of dosha which has to be incorporated in panchakarma. And when it is increased, vruddha nihartavya, when it is increased, that time only we have to do the shodhana. So that is the indication of vamana and virechana, shodhanasya and shodhanabasti. So the whole panchakarma is based on the dosha condition and dosha principles. So for the panchakarma practice, we should be very thorough with the assessment of dosha. That's what we learn in the first module. So in this module, we will learn, so what is the mechanism of dosha mobilization in body. So, like sharire anudhavatam yatra sangha, like it is written like dosha is moving from the whole body. Like the shloka is Vata pitta kafaha sharire anudhavatam yatra sangaha kha vaigunyat vyadhis tatra upajayate. So these doshas are moving in the body, like from upward downwards. The motion is there. That's why we say it's a dynamic or physiological entity in the body. So there are some reasons why it moves from the shakha to koshta and koshta to shakha. So the koshta already we discussed in the unit first what is the koshta. So why dosha comes from shakha to koshta, which is needed during the panchakarma. So there are the reasons explained by Acharya Charaka. Vruddhi vishandanat paka stroto mukha vishodhanat shakha muktva mala koshtam yanti vayoscha nigrahat. So these are the reasons why dosha moves from the shakha to koshta. Like whenever there is increase in the dosha, if there is liquefaction, vishandanat, what snehapana do, maturation, pakat, what svedana does, cleansing of the channel openings, like srotomukh vishodhanat, that is what svedana do. And control, nigrahat, vayosha nigrahat, control of the vayu will lead the movement of dosha from shakha to koshta. And from koshta, we can remove it outside, that is called the shodhana. So this principle has to be applied in Panchakarma, that this movement should happen in Panchakarma, then only we can remove it completely. Then coming to the pathophysiology, why the pathophysiology? Because naturally dosha should come from shakha to koshta, from where we can remove it. But in some pathologies, it moves from the koshta to shakha. So what are the reasons? Vyayamad, Ushmanah, Taikshnat, कोष्ठात शाखा malayanti drutatvat marutasya cha. So, due to excessive physical exertion, heat exposure, irritant substance, use of irritant substance, and neglect of the appropriate regimen of the doshas, this metabolic waste, or this, you can say it's a metabolic waste, not the normal dosha, that moves from the koshta to shakha. So, what are the shakhas? Like the rasa, rakta, mamsa, med, asthi, majja, shukra. These are the, we consider as a, from koshta they goes to the dhatus, that is the shakha or the srotasas. So, this is what the pathophysiology of dosha, displacement from the koshta to shakha. Then coming to the indications of Panchakarma, where Panchakarma indicated in classical text. Tani upasthita doshanam. That is most important part. Panchakarma is not to be practiced anytime. Tani upasthita doshanam sneha sweda upapadanaihi panchakarmani kurvit matra kalo vicharayan. So, when the aggravated doshas become localized in upasthita dosha, in koshta, they should be properly managed by administering oleation and fermentation. That should be done properly after doing the proper abhyanga, snehana and svedana. The Panchakarma therapies should be carefully administered, considering the appropriate time and dose. Matra kala is the most important part of Panchakarma. We should understand what is the kala. If kala is not proper, we should not go for shodhana. If kala is proper, that is in extreme seasons, we avoid the Panchakarma. And the dose also, dose is most important part in Panchakarma. So, and Chakrapani comment on this, what is mean by upasthita dosha. Upasthita doshanam iti shakham tektva koshtam agamanena tatha leenatvam parityagena pradhana avastha prapta doshanam. So, these are the very important parts in Panchakarma. So, the upasthita dosha means the doshas or the waste should come from the shakha to koshta and it should leave its leenatva. There are some diseases in Ayurveda where leena dosha is mentioned in grahani chikitsa, in apasmara. So, when there is a dosha is in leena avastha, the disease will not be there. So, that time we should not do the Panchakarma. And when this dosha leaves its leenatva and come to the koshta, then only we should go for the Panchakarma. So, that is most important part to understand the upasthitatva or upasthitatva of dosha in the Panchakarma practice. So, what are the principles of dosha management before Shodhana? What we should do? Shamaye tan prayogena sukham va koshtam anayet. If it is manageable with shamana, so first do the shamana with the medicines. If not, with very comfortably bring it to the koshta, that is sukham va koshtam anayet jnatva koshta prapannascha yatha sanna vinirharet, then only. So, first we do the pacification of vitiated dosha with suitable therapy. Sometimes we do the Shamana Panchakarma in the starting. If there is severe pain in osteoarthritis, if there is severe pain in rheumatoid arthritis, if there is skin disease, but that can be pacified with simple pijichil with kashaya dhara. So, we will do that. That's Shamay Tan Prayogana. Otherwise, if it is not possible, then we bring this dosha to the gastrointestinal tract with some medicines. And when we understand that Jnatva Koshta Prapannasha, that these doshas or waste has come to the Koshta, then only Yatha Sannam Nirharet, then only we should apply the Shodhana procedure. Then what is the sequence of Panchakarma? It is It is not always that we will do the Sadyavamana or we plan the Koshta Shuddhi or we plan the Basti. So there is a sequence mentioned in the classical text by Ashtanga-Hridaya. Pachanehi, Deepanehi, Snehe, Tan Svedescha Parishkrutan, Shodhayet Shodhanehi Kale, Yatha Sannam Yatha Balam. So at every time, in every shloka, they have mentioned Yatha Sannam, Yatha Kalam, Yatha Balam. So the Panchakarma physician should be thorough with what is meant by Yatha Sannam, what is meant by proper time, what is meant by proper dose. So here also the sequence what Acharya Vagbhata has given. First we have to do the Pachana, Deepana, then Snehana, then Svedana, and then we have to remove the dosha by Shodhana with the proper time and considering the strength of the patient. Sometimes it happens, though the patient having the Bahudoshavastha or if patient is having Upasthita doshatva, if the strength of the patient is not suitable, we never do the Shodhana or we should not do the Shodhana. So this is what the considering the customization of Panchakarma. Then coming to the long term of effects, which is already mentioned in the Samhitas. So what Acharya Charaka says, Dosha kadachit kupyanti jita langhana pachanehi, jita sanshodhanehi tu na tesham punarudbhavaha. And for that he gives the simile. What is the simile? Doshanam cha drumanam cha mule anupahate sati roganam prasavanam cha gatanam agatir dhruva. So the doshas may flare up temporarily despite proper pachana. If we have done the pachana and dipana, or we have done only dipana pachana, that dosha may again come or the disease may again come. Dosha eliminated by purification do not recur. That is the most important part or the most valid importance of Panchakarma. Removing doshas, that is the, like we remove the doshas from the root. That prevents the recurrence of the disease. That's why Panchakarma ensures the permanent health and stability. As you can see in the picture, this, if we cut the root of the plant, that will not flare up again. So that's why we, with Panchakarma, we remove the doshas from the root, or root cause of the disease will be removed with Panchakarma. That's why Panchakarma is most important in many diseases. So what is Panchakarma? As we have seen the importance of Panchakarma. So what is Panchakarma? Because there are many concepts about the Panchakarma. Like if you go to the YouTubes or in the social media, Panchakarma is just Shirodhara or Panchakarma is just Abhyanga Sveda. But classically, what is Panchakarma is? Panchakarma refers to the group of therapeutic procedures in which medicated substances are administered through the various routes and formulations to produce either biopurification or rejuvenation effect. That is the proper definition of Panchakarma. So that includes the palliative Panchakarma, that includes the cleansing procedures, that includes the all procedures which we do. Otherwise, after some years, it will happen like this procedure comes under the other speciality. So the Panchakarma is not only 5 cleansing procedure, it includes in the speciality of Panchakarma, the basics and the fundamentals of all procedures which we do for the doshas are included. So justification for Panchakarma. Why the name Panchakarma? Like Pancha is 5 and Karma is the procedures. But Chakrapani explain why there are the Panchakarma is mentioned there. Iha vamanadishu karma lakshanam bahuvati kartavyataya yogi dosha nirharana shakti jayate tvam. So the procedure which removes the dosha from the body or which removes outside, that is called the karma. Then he says, yadi iha vamanadishu panchakarma. So there he mentioned the panchakarma word. Pankaja shabdavad yoga rudheyam sangya. Anuvasana is also a panchakarma. Like many times students say, why the anuvasana is panchakarma? It is not doing shodhana of anything. In commentary of Chakrapani, in Charaka Charaka Samhita, Chakrapani in his commentary wrote, Anuvasanam tu yad api vamanadi na bahudosha nirharana karanam bhavati tatha api. Though the Anuvasana as Vamana do not remove the bahudosha nirharan. It is not removing the dosha like how the Vamana and Virechana does the Shodhana of Kapha, Shodhana of Pitta. In the same way, though the Anuvasana is not doing, like Yadapi Anuvasana Vamanadivat na do bahudosha nirhara karanam bhavati tathapi still Purushasya pakvashaya gatavatasya cha bahir nirharakatvat karma lakshana praptam eva nahi snehasvid. Like, because this Anuvasana removes the pakvashaya gatvata, that Purushasya, with Purusha, it removes the Vata with stool. That's why it comes under Panchakarma. That's why Anuvasana is included in Panchakarma. Nahi sneha svedo dosha bahir nissaranam krutam. So the sneha sveda is not doing it is not removing the dosha outside. That's why it is doing the dosha shamana. That's why it comes under the purva karma. So that is the justification why there is panchakarma and why Anuvasana is included in panchakarma. So as per Sharangdhara, he mentioned like Vamanam Virechanam Nasyam Niruham cha Anuvasanam Panchakarmani Kathitani Munishware. So the Panchakarmas are Vamana, Virechana, Nasya, Niruha and Anuvasana as per Sharangdhara. Vagbhata. As per Vagbhata, he mentioned the Pancha Shodhana. Sometime in the fight of the subjects, some people say the Pancha Shodhana is not Panchakarma. We are practicing the Pancha Shodhana and that is not the Panchakarma. But the Pancha Shodhana is the synonym of Panchakarma as given by the Ashtangrodaya. He says, Yad irate bahir doshan, which removes the dosha outside. Panchada Shodhanam Chatat. These are the Pancha Shodhana. Niruho Vamanam Kaya Shiroreko Astra Visruti. He includes the Rakta Mokshana in the Pancha Shodhana. Of course, this is the synonym of Panchakarma. There is no, in classical text, there is no different methodology mentioned as a Pancha Shodhana or Samshodhana. Panchakarma, different opinion. There are the difference of opinion in Panchakarma. This is just for the Rakta Mokshana. As Charaka says, Vamana, Virechana, Nasya, Anuvasana and Nasya as a Panchakarma, he excluded the Rakta Mokshana. Though he mentioned the Rakta Mokshana in Vidhishoniti Adhyay, though he mentioned the every like pre-operative, operative and post-operative of Rakta Mokshana, the causes of everything he mentioned, but he was in the opinion that it should not be considered as a Panchakarma. So he mentioned as a, and Vagbhata, how he mentioned the Pancha Shodhana, he clubbed the Anuvasana and Niruha as a Basti and then he included the Rakta Mokshana as a Panchakarma. The Sharangdhara again he follows the same as Charak Samhita. He mentioned he excluded the Rakta Mokshana. Again the Dallhana, like Sushruta, this is the same thing. He clubbed the Anuvasana and Niruha Basti as a one Panchakarma and include the Rakta Mokshana in that. Yeah, before that, let me clear like why there are the points to consider Rakta Mokshana in Panchakarma and there are the points to exclude Rakta Mokshana from Panchakarma. So this is written by Dallhana, Acharya Dallhana. Like he says that Rakta Mokshana should be included in Panchakarma because customarily it is like as we have the dosha, Rakta is also a dosha. So there should be the Shodhana for the Rakta is the Rakta Mokshana. That's why it should be included in the Rakta Mokshana. Relevance with the dosha, elimination through nearest root. As per like we say it's a Kapha dosha stays in the upper part of the body, so we remove it with the Vamana. So that's why Vamana is included. In the same way, this Rakta should be removed from, if there is the disease in the hand, we will remove the Rakta from or Rakta Vistravana will be done through the nearest vein. That's why the Rakta Mokshana should be included in the Panchakarma. And he says dominancy of Shodhana therapy. Like as he mentioned, like in classical text, there are the Vata Vruddhi Lakshanas are mentioned, Vata Vruddhi Karanas are mentioned, Kapha Vruddhi Karanas are mentioned, Pitta Vruddhi Karanas are mentioned. In the same way, Rakta Dushti Lakshanas are mentioned, Rakta Dushti Karanas are mentioned. So, why not to consider Rakta as a fourth dosha, he says. This everything is all about the Rakta as a fourth dosha. So, as Rakta is the fourth dosha, then of course there is the special Shodhana also for Rakta, that is Rakta Mokshana, and that should be included in the Panchakarma. And the different opinion is why it should be excluded, as in Panchakarma, like we never rupture anything. It is not invasive. It is all procedures are non-invasive. We do the Vamana, we do the Nasya, we do Virechana. Everything is non-invasive. Even though in Basti also we never puncture anything. So these are the non-invasive therapies. And Rakta Mokshana is invasive therapy. That's why it should be excluded. And no specific dosha and Shodhana occurs. As the Rakta Shodhana is done with the, because Rakta is stays with Anushanga of Pitta, or it stays with Pitta. That's why the Shodhana what we do for the Pitta is ultimately done for the Rakta dosha also. That's why they say there is no specific dosha mentioned in classical texts like Charak Samhita, Vagbhat Samhita. So that's why it should be excluded. That's why there are the difference of opinion about the Rakta Mokshana. So coming to the schematic presentation of Panchakarma, what is the pre-procedures? These are the Dipana, Pachana, Snehana, Svedana comes under pre-procedures of Panchakarma. And in the main procedure, Vamana, Virechana, Basti, Nasya and Rakta Mokshana comes as a main procedure. And in post-care, Samsarjana, Rasayana, internal medicine and Vajikarana comes as a post-care of Panchakarma. That's why in this course, I cover all these things, like everything about the Dipana Pachana, Snehana Svedana, Vaman Virechana, Basti Nasya, and in the last module we cover the Samsarjana, Rasayan and Vajikaran and some medicines also. So there are different opinions, like people say this is the Keraliya Panchakarma. What is Keraliya Panchakarma? It is just misnomer. There is no classical explanation or no classical reference for the Keraliya Panchakarma. I completed my post-graduation from the Government Ayurveda College Trivandrum, and our professor, our head of the department, when we say what is the Keraliya Panchakarma, he always laugh and he say there is no anything as Keraliya Panchakarma. There are some procedures which they practiced in the medieval era. We lose the practice of Panchakarma, or we lose the practice of Ayurveda because of many reasons in India. So that time also there's some traditional practitioners, they practice the Purva Karmas, and there are some procedures, there are some book also like in Dhara Kalpa where these procedures have the written references for that, and that can be called as a Panchakarma, Keraliya Upakarmas. That is not Panchakarma. There is no any karma which is mentioned as a misnomer of or mentioned as a Keraliya Panchakarma is not at all the part of Panchakarma. These are the part of Snehana and Svedana. So what are that Keraliya Upakramas or Keraliya Kriyakramas? That is Takradhara, Talapodachil, Shashti Shalipinda Sweda, Pijichil and Talam. So they are being practiced in Kerala since many years, where other part of India were not practicing the Panchakarma, were not practicing the Purva Karma, but the traditional practitioners of Kerala, we should bow to them that they keep the practices of Panchakarma or keep the practices of Purva Karma in practice and benefit the many human beings. So these are the Keraliya Panchakarma. But many nowadays what you see, just for the publicity, just for the commercialization, just for the money purpose, just to attract the people place the name Keraliya Panchakarma. So that is nowhere established Panchakarma in classical text. Okay, so commercial Panchakarma, if you go to the many countries, or if you go to the any seashore, there will be Panchakarma, like Shirodhara stand will be there and they will say, yes, we do the Panchakarma. That is the commercial practices of Panchakarma. Being a Panchakarma specialist, being the graduate of Ayurveda, we should not practice such Panchakarma. We should have the classical practices of Panchakarma. Like for the foreigners also, there are short duration Panchakarma. If you go to the PubMed also, if you go to the journals also, there are the researches which have done the 24-day Panchakarma or 7-day Panchakarma, 15 days Panchakarma, and if you see the methodology, that is against the classical text. So that is the short duration Panchakarma is not possible. Today, in the last end of this lecture, we will see how much day is needed for the Panchakarma, classical Panchakarma. If you want to misinterpret the classical Panchakarma, you should not use the name Panchakarma. The Panchakarma, you can modify it with any name. So, name of the Panchakarma should not be vitiated. So, you can say it's a Purva Karma, or you can say that it's a pre-operative procedures. So, many places in the commercial practice of Panchakarma, they just do the Abhyanga Sweda or Shirodhara. So, why Sushruta include the Rakta Mokshana in Panchakarma is because of it is mainly cleansing procedure, and it does the Pitta Shodhana, and he considered Rakta as a fourth dosha. So coming to the evolution of Panchakarma, like when I was kid, or we usually see like dog eats the bitter grass and vomit. That is what that is the evolution of Panchakarma, that it is in the practice. It is in the practice for the animals for the since years, that whenever there is increase in the dosha, we should remove it. So that was the practice for that. Great Sant, prior to the Rasayana, they follow the Shodhana and they introduce the Snehana Svedana too. So before starting Panchakarma, as in first module we discussed, we should be thorough about Ayurvedic anatomy, physiology, pharmaceutics, pharmacology, pathology, internal medicine. Then only we can practice the Panchakarma. As Panchakarma is a super speciality, we should know the basics of all clinical practice, then only we should practice or we can practice Panchakarma. So coming to the impact of Shodhana, what Panchakarma does? Malapaham, Rogaharam, Balavarna Prasadanam, Pitva Sanshodhanam, Sammyag Ayusha Yujyate Chiram. So if we do Panchakarma properly, that will remove the metabolic toxins, it restores the health, it enhances the strength and complexion, and it supports the long life or long-term vitality and lifespan. These are the benefits of Panchakarma. Unless and until we do it properly, we are not going to get these results. So coming to the age consideration in Panchakarma, this is what the classical text actually says. It is not for all. So we should follow the principles of Ayurveda, that nasya na nasyam una saptabde, na atitashi ashiti vatsare, na cha una ashtadashe dhumaha, kavalo na una panchame, na shuddhi una dashame, na cha atikranta saptato. So Ashtanga Acharya Vagbhata clearly mentioned that Nasya should not be practiced before 7 years and it should not be practiced after 80 years. Dhumapana or Dhumapana should not be practiced before 18 years. Though we do the Vamana before 18 years, Dhumapana should be avoided. And Kavala or Garg, there are many reasons for this, why they have mentioned, because after doing many Panchakarma for many years, I understand, yes, it is like one patient was 17 years, I told no, we won't do the Dhumapana, because there are the, when you go to the physiology and anatomy, you will understand that when they says it is contraindicated, it is completely contraindicated. So Kavala should be done from the age of 5 years only. Before that, Kavala is also contraindicated. Shodhana or Virechana, that purification should be done from the 10 years to 70 years. That is actually for the Virechana. Vamana is told from the Jata Karma. In Jata Karma only Vamana is mentioned there. But for Virechana, it should be done from the 10 years to 70 years. Before 10 years, Virechana should not be done, or after 70 years, Virechana should be avoided. So why Panchakarma is super speciality in Ayurveda? It facilitates the systemic elimination of accumulated dosha. It demonstrates high therapeutic efficacy. You can't understand how this Panchakarma is effective in many diseases. It involves the comprehensive and large scale intervention. Like when you will see the 8th module, you will see like the researches what have been done on Panchakarma is just for the supportive, as a supportive therapy or as a pharmacodynamic or as on the osteoarthritis or some small diseases. But the Panchakarma have large scale interventions because we can reach to the every cell. It primarily target dosha normalization and biopurification, and it exhibits the multifaceted pharmacological and physiological effects. Like if Basti, in the context of Basti, it has been written like it is do the Shodhana, it is do the Shamana, it is do the Bruhana, it is Chakshusha, it is Asti Sandhanakara. So these are the multifaceted treatments which is done with the Panchakarma. That's why Panchakarma is a super speciality in Ayurveda. Importance of Panchakarma in clinical practice is we can do Panchakarma for the promotion as a daily routine. There are the Dinacharya and Rutucharya is mentioned in the classical text. That is nothing but the Panchakarma. So if you know the principles of Panchakarma, you can use it for the daily routine in Dinacharya and in Rutucharya. In Bahudoshavastha, this is what there is no disease, but that is the pre-phase of the disease. That is called the Bahudosha Lakshana. Like in pre-diabetic, in the skin diseases who are prone for the skin diseases, we can go for the Panchakarma. As Panchakarma is having non-recurrence in the autoimmune disease where there is recurrence or exacerbation is there, or in the psoriasis, in the skin diseases, or in asthma where there is recurrence is coming. So there Panchakarma will stop that recurrence and will give the better result. And prior to rejuvenation and aphrodisiac therapy, it is mentioned that we should do the Panchakarma. That is what the importance of Panchakarma. Coming to the Rutu Shodhana. So, as in classical text, the seasonal Panchakarma is mentioned. So, here we will discuss why it is mentioned, when it is mentioned, and how it is mentioned, how to do. So, Shitodbhavam doshachayam vasante vishodhane grishmajam abrakale ganate varshikam ashu samyak prapnoti rogan rutujan jatu. Na jatu. So one can prevent the diseases that arises due to the seasonal imbalance if we do the Panchakarma. So what is mentioned? The accumulated dosha in cold season, that should be removed in the Vasanta or in the spring. When the dosha is accumulated in the summer season, that should be removed in the Varsha or in the rainy season. And the doshas, when they accumulate in the rainy season, that should be removed in the autumn. So base season for the Panchakarma is spring, autumn, Pravrit. That is what mentioned in classical text. It is the early monsoon. That is what we can see. It's a Sadharan Kala. What is mentioned for the base season for Panchakarma? These all are the Sadharan Kala. Then coming to the seasons or Rutu in Ayurveda, like Shishira, that is winter. So this is the Rutu Shodhana when we have to remove the is the base season for Panchakarma. And coming to the modern like English months, consideration of English months, Indian months, and recommendation for Panchakarma as per season. If it is Shishira or winter season, it is approximately December to February in India. That is in as per Indian month, it is Paush and Magha month. There Snehana and Svedana is indicated. In Vasanta in the spring, that is from 16 February to 15 April approximately, that Falgun and Chaitra, Vamana is indicated. In Grishma or summer season from April to June, where Vaishakha and Jeshta month is there, the Shita therapies are included. And in Varsha or in monsoon, that is from the June to August, or Shravan or Ashad, that is Basti, is explained in Ayurvedic text. So in Sharada, that is from August to October, that is Bhadrapada and Ashwin month. the Virechana is indicated, and in Hemanta, that is Kartik or Margashish Mas, the Snehana, Swedana and Rasayana is indicated. So Vagbhata says, Shravane Kartike Chaitre Masi Sadharani Kramat Grishma Varsha Himachitan Vaivadi Ashu Nirharet. So in Shravana, Vata should be removed, in Kartika, Pitta should be removed, and in Vasanta, Kapha should be removed. So coming to the seasonal Panchakarma, as we know the Shishira Rutu, it is more cold, there is more dryness in the body. The Panchakarma procedures which is mentioned there to do the Abhyanga, Swedana, Ushnagriha, what is you can see in the picture, Ushnagriha, or Sneha, that is Abhantar Snehapana is advised in this season. Coming to the Vasanta or the spring season, where Kafaschito hi Shishire Vasante Arkanshu Tapitaha Hatva Agni Kurute Rogan Tam Tvaraya Jaye Tikshner Vamanam Nasya. So he says what is the pathology of the season, as in naturally what happens, like Kapha Sanchaya is happening in the Vasanta, Kapha Prakopa, it is the Kapha Prakop Kala, and that's why there is the Agni Mandya and diseases of the Kapha happens there. So what he says, if it is Kapha Utlesha, the Vamana should be done. If it is Pitta Sansrushta Kapha, then Tikshna Virechana should be given. And if it is Vata Pitta Prakopa with Kapha, then Asapana Basti or Anuvasana should be given. So coming to this Grishma or summer season, as there is the extreme heat, there Abhyantara Snehapana or there is dryness in the body, so they have told to do the Shita Panchakarma or therapies which are produce the coldness in the body. And coming to the next season, that is Varsha, as naturally in this season, rainy season, Vata, it is the time of Vata Prakopa and Pitta Sanchaya, so Basti is indicated as per classical text. The next time is Sharada, that is autumn, where there is Pitta, it is the Pitta Prakop Kala, and there will be routinely the Pitta and Rakta disorders will come. So what is explained by the classical text to do the Tikshna Virechana or Rakta Mokshana in this season. Then coming to the Hemanta or cold season. So the Panchakarma or the Upakarmas which is mentioned in the Hemanta season is Abhyanga, Utsadana, Atapasevana or Niragni Swedana, Jintaka Sweda, Sona Bath or Murdni Taila. That should be practiced in this season. So what we learn in today's class are what are the fundamental principles of Panchakarma, what is the difference between Panchakarma and Panchashodhana, what is the Rakta Mokshana, whether it should be included in Panchakarma or not, what are the points for that, and what is the benefits of Panchakarma, and all about the seasonal Panchakarma, in which season which Panchakarma is advised in classical text. So with this, thank you dear students for listening carefully. Namaste.